Today, are you feeling basic or very alkaline perhaps? Well, the pH balance is here. Basic or acidic? For some reason, I was like basic or alkaline? No, that's not the right one. Expertly, yeah. Is your hair acidic? Oh, Jesus, I hope not. I mean, shampoo and everything is basic. So. Wait, Heather's muted because I didn't.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
Paul has all that power.
Heather was given smart stuff about shampoo.
Yeah, I said very intelligent things about shampoo that were hilarious, and you'll just take my word for it because I'm not repeating it.
Ha ha! Let me pour some tea here.
I never know what you're going to do during that intro, which is why I always go for something silent.
Yeah. Delicious tea.
Tea's a good thing.
I often don't know what I'm going to do during the intro until like 30 seconds before, and I'm like, right, I'm supposed to do something.
It's part of the show. It's a very small portion of the show, but it's very important, Paul. It sets the tone for the entire show.
So welcome to ChillPoint, where we're talking about CheckPoint, yesterday's CheckPoint, and all the other video gaming news that happened this last week. If you notice, the more observant among you may notice that Beej is not here. But he is off doing some special filming for another project. So it is the two more important people.
The ChillPoint experts.
It's true.
Are still around.
It's true. And so yeah, let's just get into this. Obviously, this was, the April Fools happened yesterday, and we talked about how, I think we've talked about before on CheckPoint, and I feel like we've probably talked about it in most loading ready run properties, because it's something that just annoys, the like stupid April Fools jokes. Dumb April Fool's things where it's like, this is happening. Haha, no, it's not. Got you. So whereas for some reason Nintendo decided to do the opposite and be like, 6 months ago, we're going to get rid of these very popular Mario games. And then on April 1st, they're like, April Fools, we're going to do what we said we would do.
Yeah, I mean, in that regard, that had nothing to do with April Fools. March 31st is the end of the fiscal year for Nintendo.
Oh, is it?
And yeah. So for them to be like, we're going to end... Sometimes when they talk about their year end, they're not talking about a calendar year end. They're talking about March 31st, which is why like having the Mario anniversary, which would have been for last year's...
Yeah,
like that game came out last year. Leaps kind of goes into this year. That probably got delayed.
And like theoretically, like that was Mario's 35th anniversary is now like over.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, they're not going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah,
yeah. But there were definitely a lot of people hoping, and who clearly didn't know that's a thing, and that's not necessarily a thing I expect everyone to know anyway. But they were like, "Oh yeah, no, on April 1st, big conspiracy theory. They're going to announce that they're putting all the games up separately, and then we're going to get Mario Galaxy 2 as well because it was awful that they kept that out of the collection and they shouldn't have and like,
I mean
oh,
that
you're gonna be real disappointed.
I mean that was dumb, and like I get the Mario 35 thing because it's like specifically the tie-in, although I mean it seems like it's a really cool game and people liked it.
It's been done before for with Nintendo having limited
Mm,
releases only through a year. Like the thing that I think really bothered people and confused people as to what was happening this time was they were doing it with their digital copies and their digital games.
right.
And
It's like it actually takes more work for you to take it off like if you just left it there and didn't do anything, it would still be there and people could get it.
because a lot of games only stop getting printed after a while, and
Right.
it's just like then they kind of fall off and no one really notices because enough time's passed and
Yeah,
no
like it
one makes
makes
a big
sense
deal
to have
about it.
a limited run game. But to just sort of to take it down off the store, it's a
Yeah,
definitely
it's weird.
it's a very like Disney Vault thing. Especially the like Mario 3D All Stars, where it's just like a pack of previous Mario games. Like there's not even any particular connection to like the anniversary. It's just like, oh, that's a cool game, or that's a cool thing to release. A pack of a remastered bunch of the Mario games. Great. Oh, now you can't get it anymore. Huh. Well, that
Yeah.
sucks.
The weirder one for me is actually the Fire Emblem game that they took off.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
There was a Fire Emblem game. I think we reported on it like because they did an anniversary collection for it for physical release, but it didn't come with the game because it was just a digital only game, and it was like $5 or $6, and that got announced. I think even later or something, but that was like, oh yeah, Fire Emblem, and now that's going away too, and that one weirds me out even more because I'm like, that's no. A few people have brought it up in places that I've seen, but it's not the degree of like everyone being like, "Oh, Mario's being executed."
But anyway, apparently, we confirmed that it is true that while writing this story, Graham just went ahead and bought Super Mario 3D All Stars because he was like, "Oh yeah, I should get that." And he wrote this story on March 31st. So
So a reminder for him more than anything else.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I do know. I've seen posts on Reddit of people talking about whether or not they can still play Mario 35 because some people reportedly are like, I can still play it, but I don't know if they're actually trying to play a game or if they're just going in because I still have the app on on my Switch and I can enter the app, but the moment I try to actually play a game, it errors and it's like, nope, sorry, thanks
Right.
for liking our stuff.
Yeah, because I mean the servers aren't there anymore, presumably.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Other stuff. Big Chungus, which I did not know was a thing other than like a silly insult. Like I didn't know there was actually like a specific Big Chungus meme.
I didn't know that was his name. I spent a lot of time Beach explaining to me what this was the night before Checkpoint.
Because I mean, like calling somebody a Chungus, I've certainly heard before, but
Oh yeah, it's in
I
lots of
wasn't
places.
aware that Big Chungus was a specific entity, and that is not even like a separate person or a separate character. It is just Fat Bugs Bunny. It was just in one episode he gets super fat, and they
I
call
mean,
that instance of him Big Chungus.
is it actually from an episode? I thought this was somebody's fan art, but
No,
I
no,
guess
it's
it
it's a
wouldn't
real.
be.
It's from a real episode.
Huh? Okay. I mean,
I'm
I guess I didn't watch that much Bugs Bunny.
I'm sure the real fan. I'm sure the fan art has vastly expanded the Big Chungus universe, the Big Chungus whatever canon. But what I liked about the meme is that, or what I liked about it is that it is as I showed on the in the shoulder graphic, it is in fact often shown as like presented as a PS4 game, like Big Chungus now for PS4. But yeah, they're adding him to Looney Tunes World of Mayhem, which for is doesn't actually sound like that. Like it's just like a gotcha kind of game. I think like it doesn't actually sound like that good a game, but it has a bunch of licenses. Well, it's Looney Tunes, obviously. So
Yeah, so Warner Brothers.
yeah. So but I don't know whether Big Chungus is going to be like a separate character or just like a Bugs Bunny skin. I don't know.
I mean, I know for a fact that this story was mostly reported on so Beach could talk about My Little Pony
Well,
again.
yes. Yeah.
Um,
And so yeah, Beach transitions from talking about talking about whatever. Some people in the comments were mentioning talking about what anime he was explaining or mentioning in the World
oh,
War II
for that,
battleships thing.
I think that he was just making stuff up.
But anyway, but yeah, then talking about good old Derpy Hoof or whatever her name is,
It's Derpy Hooves or
or Muffin.
Ditsy Doo, depending on the thing. Anything I've ever seen branded where they sell like with the plushes or like I think they were like maybe a Funko Pop or something, but anything that's got like a figurine where it has to have a name for the character generally only has either has it referred to as a question mark or the image of a muffin
Yeah, like
because they that had a lot of fan backlash
I thought
as
yeah,
well.
I thought they didn't actually like the Derpy Hoof was the
That's those are fan
that was
names.
the fan name and she was actually like officially named Muffin or something.
Can't remember if she got an official name, but it got a lot of backlash when because derpy is not exactly a word that can be used as an insult. Is one thing. There was some
Yeah.
stuff about her eyes being wrong as like making fun of people with disabilities, which I don't think was really going on. But like I remember there being a lot of fan backlash, and it really like as cool as it is to be like, oh yeah, they did they did this thing and then they noticed the fandom really liked it and much later because they work much farther ahead stuff started to show up where she delivers the mail and she's always got muffins and stuff and then
Yeah.
fandom ruins everything usually in
Yeah,
those regards.
and I can understand the that there's that yeah there's like I don't I think it's pretty benign, but I can see that they wouldn't want to officially call her Derpy Hooves.
Yeah, which is why Ditsy Do I think was the other proposed name a lot of people went with.
But yeah, I do like that they've sort of integrated her into. I think she. So I will say, finding pictures of Derpy Hooves isn't a problem, obviously, but figuring out which of those pictures are actually like official pictures and which are fan art is quite difficult. Like some you could be like, oh boy, that's definitely not official. Uh, but some of them, there's very good My Little Pony, fan art that is very close to the to the sort of standard the whatever canonical appearance. But
Yeah, Equestrian Girls probably doesn't help you in your search either, finding all of the versions of them as humans.
right, there is actually a human version of Derpy Hooves.
Yes,
Yes, okay.
yes.
Like
There's
I wasn't
yeah, there's like a side series, but it's
like
part of
I
the
wasn't like
verse.
100% whether it was like because I know Equestrian Girls was a thing,
Yeah.
and so I wasn't 100% whether people were just like, what if Derpy Hooves was on Equestrian Girls?
Oh no, she's in the
Maybe
background.
she'd look like
Like
this.
I'm pretty sure almost any pony that's shown up in the 9 seasons of My Little Pony has shown up somewhere in the background of Equestria Girls.
Mm.
By the way, your shoulder graphic of I don't know what to do with this graphics department was very good. I liked that a lot.
I went back and forth a bit on like I was like either that or like beige to supply graphic or some or like graphic to be supplied or just like uh something that's completely like pixelated out. But I do be now little behind the scenes stuff. You know usually I usually the process is I'll be collecting stories throughout the week, and then put them up, and then usually the people who are reading the stories also wrote them. So Graham will write a couple
Mm-hmm.
stories, Beej will write a couple stories, and then they will read the stories that they wrote. It just seems to work better that way. Occasionally somebody will like write more stories than they needed just because they happen to be inspired, and so they'll swap around and stuff. That has happened too. But or Kathleen writes stories and stuff too. But Beej generally, like, usually or often when he writes stories, he'll be quite specific about, like, he'll like say, I want this image here and this image here and this image here
Mm-hmm.
and this image here, which of course is great for me because he's already found all the images, right? Because sometimes it's like, I need an image to illustrate this, and it could be, sometimes they're kind of abstract concepts too, and it's just like, what is an image to illustrate this? So and also sometimes he references memes or things that I am not aware of,
Yeah.
and so he'll have a specific like image in mind, and if I just do like Google image search, maybe I won't get the one that he was thinking of. So
Yeah, I know he's definitely been trying to help you out more by supplying more images uh as time has gone on, and I'm like, good, because dude, you do really have some specific ideas in mind when you write them.
um
Uh
but yeah, I do. To be honest, Big Chungus would be a great name for a My Little Pony pony as well. Just like a really like burly pony. Big
oh,
Chungus.
oh, they've got one,
The like
but I think its name is
the like
uh
flank mark is just like a bicep that's curled.
I gotta check its name because I don't want to say that unless it's true. But there is like a roided out pony
Big
that
Mac.
has like tiny little wings because it's no,
Oh,
it's not that one. It's got little Pegasus wings, but it's like a very
actually what you do
bulky.
what you do is you have it as like just a running gag where Big Chungus. It's like, oh, here comes Big Chungus, and it's just no. Whenever they're on screen, it's just like a set of pony legs. Like you never see the rest of them. They're just so huge that they go off the top of the frame, and they
Yeah,
just be like,
it's
"Hi,
it's called bulk biceps.
bulk biceps."
Yeah, it's he's got these tiny little, because he's a Pegasus pony, tiny little wings, but he's very
Can he
roided out.
can he fly with the little wings? I guess.
I think he kind of can. I
Uh,
mean, it's a big deal to be a Pegasus pony and not be able to fly because all the Pegasus pony live basically out in Cloudsdale, and you have to be able to fly to be even on the clouds.
I mean, considering the size of the wings on most Pegasus ponies, clearly they're not flying by, aerodynamics. There's got to be some like magic
Oh
involved
no,
anyway, right?
no!
So,
But the classism in My Little Pony is real weird.
mm,
Uh,
it's a lot of like, well, Pegasus ponies are special or magic ponies are special.
oh yeah, no, all their lore is just like, oh, the Earth ponies toiled away and were the ones who had to dig the Earth, but the magic like unicorn ponies, they are the ones who get to be like smart and research and stuff, and
They're better.
the Pegasus ponies can manipulate the weather and stuff, so they're also better. And then the Alicorns get to rule everyone because they have all the powers. Which, I mean, everyone technically could be an Earth pony, I suppose, but you know,
The ground ponies are more suited for manual labor.
yeah, they work in the rock quarries.
Anyway, but yes, the whole like it's great when something can be like that like interaction between sort of canon and fandom there can be a little bit of push and pull to like where something
Mm-hmm.
people really like then turns into a real thing. I mean, it can it has to be done with a certain delicacy. You can't just take anything the audience says and be like, "Yep, that's happening." But it's nice when it can happen. Um, and now, oh yeah, now we have sort of two stories about cheating in different ways, though. So there's a story about that there's a big bust in China. Um, 10, Tencent and the Chinese authorities were because Tencent is, I mean, while not part of the Chinese government, is certainly cooperates with the Chinese government. And they just did a big bust of a bunch of people who were not only making but charging like subscription fees for cheat programs for various
Mm-hmm.
games. And also the other, I mean, because that's the other thing is that Tencent even more so than North American companies, because there's all these Call of Duty and Fortnite or all these different games that that are owned by different companies in North America. In China, almost all of those games are run by Tencent because, like, in order to have a game in to publish a game in China, you have to pair with a local publisher,
Yeah.
and because Tencent is who they are so huge. Almost all of the big companies use Tencent. So all these games everywhere else in the world are published by all sorts of different people, but in China it's all Tencent, which means that they obviously have a very vested interest in stopping all the cheating. And so apparently people pay substantial amounts of money for some of these cheats. Um, you know,
Yeah, that's
$10 a day or $200 a month, which I guess the $200 a month is a deal if you're paying $10 a day. I guess that's like if you only need it for like a tournament or something.
I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe because so this would be like the do you pay for your bus tickets or do you pay for a bus pass scenario, right? Like, do you pay for the thing that gets you one ride because maybe you only really use the bus 5 times a month?
Hmm.
Because in which case, 20 you're not going to exceed the 20 times a month to make that
What's
monthly bus pass worth it.
what's the cheating equivalent of taking the bus?
Subscriptions.
But
I don't know. It's how I used to figure out if I needed to get a monthly bus pass because sometimes I would just borrow beaches or I would be like I only have to go to work like 5 times this month, and if I'm not taking the bus back, then I really only need like 3 bus tickets. So
it's and so the it's like I'm assuming this is mostly people doing it like this isn't like people doing it for like uh to like win money in tournaments. I'm guessing
I
most.
mean,
I'm assuming
you
most
would
of this is
assume
just
not.
that I want to be the top of my whatever bracket, and Slack decided to unmute itself on my computer, which is great.
Oh,
So sorry for the Slack notifications, everybody. Um, the but the yeah, like there can't be that many people using them in big tournaments. Like, there's been a couple of high profile instances of people getting caught using them. So I guess that would indicate
I
that
mean,
some
some
people are
people
using them and not
probably
getting caught.
okay, but not everybody, right? Because like the assumption would be like if this is lucrative, that means a lot of people are buying cheats,
Right.
and not that can't mean that all of them are in tournaments, because
Yeah, I
that
think
would be
it's
weird.
yeah, I think people just want to feel powerful, and kick everybody else's butt, and be like, yeah, I'm the best.
Yeah, I mean, that is a reason to play a video game. It's
Um, but yeah. Anyway, they rested. I mean, also of course, this joke, this story was important to talk about because the person who wrote the story was Joe Tidy Cyber Reporter, which is a highly suspicious name, but is apparently
it's such
true.
a comic book name. Hi, I am Joe Tidy, cyber reporter, here to get the scoop.
I hope that's how he introduces himself. Oh, hi, I'm Joe Tidy, Cyber Reporter. So you report on electronic stuff? No, I'm half robot, but I report
Oh
on
man.
politics.
I hope he's got a slogan too. I'm here to tidy up the gaming sphere.
Yeah, he should start. He needs to like use that. Like that's an excellent last name. Yeah, maybe he's just a fan of cyber things. Reports on them. Anyway, um, then there is also Balan Wonderworld,
Oh my
um,
goodness. Yep.
which which I like that. I like that Beige established his credentials to be able to talk about Balan Wonderworld by saying he watched you play it.
He did. And I definitely played it for longer than an hour, but he only watched for about an hour.
Mm.
I will say this for the demo. It is a substantial demo if you're willing to go in and collect more trophies to unlock things. If you're not, because it's honestly kind of boring. Um,
It, demos
I
that
could see
have
why you wouldn't.
unlocks in them is kind of a weird, like, it's just
The
a weird
it's
idea.
it's a very it's a platformer, and in like a lot of platforming games you have to collect a thing because it's
Right.
collectathon as well, and there are these gold trophies of the weird I think his name's Balin, actually, the top hat dude.
Right.
um and if you collect enough of them, the train shows up and other worlds are unlocked. So that's not very dissimilar from like
Like
a Mario platformer
right,
where
like
you need to collect
stars or
so many
whatever.
stars in
Yeah.
order to go on. But there's it's I think the demo still exists, which I'm not really sure why they put out that demo, because honestly, that a lot of people were excited to check out that game, and then the demo hit, and it was like, wow, this game is not good.
Is there anything like is it one of those things where it's not like specifically bad, it's just not
It's not
interesting?
fun. Yeah, it's like it's just very boring. But my understanding is, because I watched the Nintendo Life review, and they gave the game like a 3 out of 10 or something. Um, which, yeah, you have to be pretty bad for that. And the two main complaints that I wouldn't have been able to see were there's like 80 costumes, and a bunch of the costumes also do things that other costumes already do, so you kind of don't need them. But then there's uh I guess they sped up the characters runtime, like from the demo, so the character's a little bit faster than what the demo portrayed, which I'm like, well, that's good, except by doing that the frame rate really drops or something. At least that's on the
Hmm.
Switch, because I don't know if it maybe runs better on the PS4, but I doubt it. Um, and But they were like, oh yeah, there's lots of things the game doesn't tell you about. Like you can trade out costumes by doing this button thing. And like, oh, that would have been useful to know actually during your demo that I could do that. Because the game is very much, you get a costume. A costume does one thing. It maybe lets you climb spider webs. Or shoot things. Or whatever. But if your costume lets you attack, your attack button's the same as the jump button. So now you can't jump. But you can hold on to like 3 costumes at once, so you can switch out. Except there are definitely parts in the game where you're like, oh, I need a special costume that I didn't bring. So I guess I gotta play the game level over with that costume. Which means which I'm like, okay, you're trying for replayability, but if it's not fun the first time, do you really want to do it 6 more times?
Like that I could see how that could be a really interesting mechanic, like that you actually are like it's not just you're giving yourself enhanced abilities, but you're actually like trading off.
Yeah, you know who's done that?
Off jumping ability for the.
It's called Mario Odyssey. You have a hat that lets you take over a person. It's essentially switching costumes when you think about it.
I mean, it almost sounds like a little bit like Lost Vikings or something, where you have like different characters that have different abilities that you can switch between. It's like
this is also a full priced game. Like it's $60.
It's like
US.
Interesting idea, but not well implemented.
Yeah, so it's getting panned. The story that was actually covered was the fact that there's a lot of weird 10 out of 10 Metacritic user reviews, and like I don't know. I guess I mean it is a Square Enix published game, so maybe you kind of don't want your game to tank. But
yeah, what was great about this? So in the story, as Beej originally wrote it, he pulled a bunch of quotes from, I believe, from the Nintendo Life article. A bunch of these like highly suspicious quotes with stuff like "I'm like this game" and things like that. These sort of questionable grammars and stuff. And then when I went to do the shoulder graphics, I was like, I should get screenshots of we can put them up in the corner, screenshots of these quotes. And so I went into the Metacritic page, and I couldn't find any of the quotes that were mentioned. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that they got purged through that they got spam filtered or whatever. But the funny thing is, there's still a ton of 10 out of 10 things, and they were all like, I found a bunch of quotes that were effectively the same, like, so it was clearly like an ongoing thing, right? So
yeah,
the quote I'm like this game was no longer like that person's quote had been deleted, but I found somebody else who had said I'm like a lot this game. And somebody who said an egregious wonderful game. And
that one is very interesting.
I think that they think egregious means something different.
Egregious is not a word that's usually used in a positive context, which is why I think that sentence is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not a good sentence, but it's a beautiful sentence.
Maybe they're thinking like elegant or engaging. I don't know.
Maybe. Oh yeah. So in regards to the costumes, I follow a lot of video game Twitter. There was a tweet going around with a little GIF of this one outfit you could get called Box Fox or Fox Box. I think it was Box Fox. And the description for the costume is that you need this costume in order to break down certain things you can't get through before, but the outfit will automatically change you into a box at random. And so there's a person who acquires this outfit and then goes to run along an area, and it's a very thin area, and they get changed into a box, but you continue keeping your momentum, and so they just, as a box, slid right off the edge. Which sounds like a great troll, but like
there's this. I do appreciate the certain like total bizarre psychedelicness of like Wear this costume, you get superpowers. Also, sometimes you turn into a box.
Which would probably not be so bad if you didn't keep the momentum going and lose all control.
Look, sometimes you turn into a cardboard box. That's just life. I bet this seems like the kind of game where, despite it not being a very good game, there might be like a really neat like speed run for it in like 6 months. People will have like it'll gain new life as like a weird speed running game that people are super into because it's so like bizarre and broken.
That would be fun. I mean, as much as I do think the game is incredibly boring and like I've played it for a long time trying to find I like to at least hope that when I'm playing a game, even if it's one that doesn't click for me, I can find a thing in it that I can appreciate, which is sometimes not great for me if if I have to dig that hard. But this game has gotten so much press in my brain that I'm like, I kind of feel weird that it might just go away and disappear into the boring ether.
But so I like the term. It's gotten a lot of press in your brain.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's actually gotten nearly as much press as I think it has, because I hang out on certain forums where a lot of people talked about it for a long time, and I'm like, yes, this game's a game people are gonna talk about, and then you read like the review, like, this is a game that's gonna disappear and no one's gonna remember in a year.
Right. I like that. I like the idea though. That it's like there's something that is like really popular, and there's things that just have a lot of press, but only in your brain. It's like it's taking up a unnecessarily large chunk of my awareness for this game, which I shouldn't really be paying attention to.
I do it with indie games all the time. Like, this game, everybody knows about that game, and then like 6 months later, you mention it, and everyone's like, "What game are you talking about?" And like, everybody knows about this indie game, right? Nobody's heard of it, Heather. Shut up. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay,
Yep.
now they don't usually tell me to shut up. They
That's
know
something we do all the
consequences
time. Nobody's heard of that, Heather. Shut up.
It's been a long time since I've been at the office, Paul. I have to make up the conversations in my brain, and everyone's very rude for some
You have
reason.
bad games. The Stonks guy is in Fortnite.
So is that really true?
Apparently so.
Okay.
It's one of those like reverse April Fool's things where it's like, ha ha ha, wouldn't it be funny if the Stonks guy was in Fortnite? Actually, the Stonks guy we're putting into Fortnite. Is this April Fool's joke? Yes, but also he's actually there. Yeah.
I like the name they gave him. That's fun.
Diamond Hands.
Although I didn't realize, because now I'm just looking at the script, I didn't realize it was HANZ. I thought it was hands, like hands.
I don't know, maybe it could be either, I guess. But actually, which does actually dovetail into something else which has been added to Fortnite, which is another story that I was looking at, which is velociraptors.
Yeah, that seems intense.
So I love this. I like there's like other like raptors and other predators and things. There's like bears, and because apparently people were like finding eggs around, but nothing was happening, and then at some point they all hatched and stuff. It's just I love this idea of Fortnite as basically like if you think of like the Hunger Games, right?
Yes.
So there's this, the idea of like the like battle royale. It's like, these people will fight for our amusement, and so that's what's happening in Fortnite. I don't know if there's actually a story of Fortnite. This is the story I'm making up in my brain because I don't know what the actual story is. But what I'm imagining is that it's basically like something like the Hunger Games, where it's like we shall make these people fight for our amusement, but the world in which it's happening, instead of like the Hunger Games world, is like this world where, I mean, I guess it's more like the real world where people are like but maybe even more so that like people are like ridiculously into pop culture and memes and stuff, and so they're like, we want to have, uh, Boba
Wait,
Fett be fighting Lara
I,
Croft. Show it to
you just
us.
you just said that this is like the real world, but if people were into pop culture and memes and stuff,
More into pop.
more. Okay, more than they already are.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. And so it's just like people, and they're just like, and they're also incredibly bored all the time, and so they're just like, we need amusement. These people shall fight for our. We want to have all the Marvel superheroes, and we want them to fight, uh, whatever, Sasquatch. Make it happen. And then they're like, yes, sir, we're making it happen. Yep, we're adding all those things into Fortnite. It'll be great. Yes, yes. Now have raptors kill them all. What? Okay, we'll have that happen too now.
So it from the article, it's not just velociraptors though. There's also wolves and boars,
Yep.
and it sounds like the boars will just kind of run away because they're scared, but the wolves will only really attack you if you bother them, but you can coax them into
Apparently,
running with you.
yeah, you can get them as pets somehow.
But then there's also like there's there's crafting for like getting animal parts to make into like a specific kind of gear item that will get animals to befriend you, which I'm not really sure if how that works. Other
Yeah.
than the animals are not smart enough to realize that you killed a bunch of them, but that's
The
like it becomes much more survival than I was expecting survival game to be.
and it's like, yeah. I feel like I should play Fortnite just so I actually know what's going on, because I always am imagining this, of course, in the context of this, like, 100 on or 50 on, the 100-person battle royale
Mm-hmm.
thing. So there's all this stuff going on, but you're still like 100 people trying to kill each other in a, reducing circle thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh,
I feel like if I ever played Fortnite, it would break this new fun weird version of Fortnite I have in my brain.
it's
And
true.
I like that. I think I'm going to like that version better and it means less work for me. So I'm just not really interested in finding that out.
Also, uh, I again, this is my experience drawn from video games and movies and TV and stuff. But I feel like wild boars are not like super shy, that they will like run away if you disturb them. Like, I think they're pretty dangerous. I don't
They
think
can be.
I feel like they're not known for being particularly like shy.
I I think it depends. I think it's a lot like other animals. It's they're probably going to run if it's better for them to run, but chances are good they as a human being they think they're going to be able to take you, and they're right.
Of course, in Fortnite, couldn't you just like build a wall between you and the boar? Just like, surprise wall.
I mean, I would build a wall and then jump up it. Because I'm going to assume the boars can't climb, but
Mm.
don't make stairs. I'm pretty sure they'll figure out how stairs work.
Oh no! Why did I build stairs? uh, and then the final story is more cheating, which is that which is sort of the constant. There's like, you know cheating is this arms race between, the developers, the people making the cheat games, going back and forth, and developers come up with ways to stop the cheats, and cheaters figure out how to get around it, blah 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 blah. But then there's this third party that is kind of this remora kind of attachment onto the people who are cheating, which is like if you're the kind of person who's downloading cheats, which are often made by third parties from sketchy websites,
Mm-hmm.
it's not actually that hard to swap that out for something that is also hacking your computer, detrimental to your computer. And and if you do that, like if you are administering a virus that way, it has the additional benefit that people are like, it's hard to um, it's hard to claim innocence as a person who became infected with that virus, being like, I was just cheating, and then I got this virus. Like it's less. I feel like there's less likely to be investigation into that, or people won't actually like say what they did in order to get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
we also they had that brief after story, which I know technically is not in the script of Cooking Mama Cookstar
right.
being still weird a year later. Like,
Has there been any more info on that in the past day?
as far as I know, what Graham said is mostly what I've heard. I know Laura K Buzz did a video on their YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's on their YouTube. I know they have a whole website that like shows everything they do.
They're the speedrunner
That
champion of
that
it, right?
yeah, I need to watch some of that stuff still. But they've they were the ones who kind of were investigating that a bit more. The the weird thing, the really weird thing about it is if you go onto the Office website, they still have the banner up that says that this game is not supposed to be sold on PS4 or by whoever, or like it's like this was a warning response they put up in April 2020, and it is still up on their website, and it's still really weird that PS4 copies of this game exist.
And it seems very odd that it had, like, if it is indeed a blatant violation, then why hasn't
I would have thought
the
they would have
owner,
said something
yeah,
by
like why
now.
haven't they come out about it? So there's seems like there's some sort of deeper thing going on here.
Yeah, maybe we'll hear more about it. I really want to hear more about it because this game's been weird since the time it showed up where they were like, oh, blockchain, which is, as far as I know, not a real thing. It was just jargon a
Yeah,
guy was spouting to get interest, to that just disappearing off the website, to the game coming out and the devs not even knowing it was coming out. Like, it's been a mess in in this weird entangled
my
way, and it's like I liked Cooking Mama. Like that's a fun franchise on the DS. It's I think they've got a mobile game and stuff, but this is just
I'm
weird.
yeah. I mean, I guess in some ways, the longer this goes on, the less value the Cooking Mama franchise has. Like like they're making it so that this the ownership of that trademark is less and less valuable by
I
putting out
guess
crappy things.
I assume that this is going to be one of those things where it's like if you pay attention to video game news media and stuff, as long as it's getting reported on, or if we have somebody as invested as Laura to keep us up to date on it, uh, that's it's going to be a thing. But I think for the average consumer, this is just going to be a thing that no one really ever knows about or cares about. And
Hmm.
then if they see the game on the shelf, maybe they buy it, maybe they don't.
My favorite thing about the original the when the Cooking Mama Cookstar came out was that there's this weird thing about, it's like somebody had, one of the developers or something had like been talking about blockchain stuff, and people jumped on this and were like, oh, the game is mining Bitcoin in the background. And it turned out that it was just that the game was so badly made that it was
Oh, it was
that was
overheating
causing
stuff
people's
apparently.
running, it was running people's, like, their switch was like running way hot. And so
Hmm.
people assumed that that was because it was mining Bitcoin in the background. But apparently the real answer was it was just very poorly made and very badly optimized.
Yeah. So yeah. Cooking Mama also is not just like Cooking Mama is the one everyone knows, but there's other games in that franchise. There's I think Gardening Mama. There was that weird Wii game for Babysitting Mama, um,
And
where you put a Wii controller in a plush baby thing, which Laura's also done a run of. And there was a Crafting Mama game, which didn't end up being very good. Tried that one.
sitting on a
Oh,
couch, relaxing, mama.
yeah, maybe. Sorry, this just popped into my head, but if for some reason you are going to purchase Balan Wonderworld, do the day one update because there was a bug that caused flashing during like some of the boss fights or during the last boss fight or something
Ooh,
that is really bad and it is like a flashing light warning thing, but they did fix it
that's good anyway.
as right away. So you know, I mean, I wouldn't recommend buying the game, but if you're going to, do your updates.
All right, let's talk about some stories we didn't do on Checkpoint. One of them, now we talked about, I think in a previous Chill Point, I don't think I actually made it onto the episode, but we did talk about that Nintendo has been partnering with various celebrities and things for different countries
Mm-hmm.
to, show them playing things. Like Brie Larson, I think, did the thing for Canada.
Yep.
And I don't know who else did stuff, but um,
Uh,
superstar K-pop group Twice
oh,
is involved
twice.
in a Switch promotion now. I'm sure, I
Right. I
fully
kind
admit
of
I
looked
do
at
not know
this.
anything about K-pop, but there's this whole uh, there's this whole like photo set of them. My favorite is it's like, hey, uh, you you should play Switch. It's the most fun thing to sit on the ground and watch somebody else play Ring Fit. It's just like as a thing to like demonstrate people having fun with the system. I feel like that wasn't a great choice. Like there's a whole series of photos. Here, I'll post the link to the article. That's one of
Right.
them
Yeah.
playing Ring Fit and the other one just kind of sitting on the ground or standing or just watching them play Ring Fit. It's like, let's come to my place and play video games. By
I mean,
which
they've got another one where one is clearly playing Ring Fit and the other one is standing next to them,
being like,
copying the movements as well, even though they don't have the controller. And
yeah,
that's for me that's very reminiscent of people playing DDR, where to try to maximize coin value, you'd have people shadow dancing behind them to try and learn the move set while someone else is actually playing the game.
yeah, yeah. Also, now I know like K-pop does the same thing as um, Japanese idol groups where the group will be like quite big, right? And they'll have
Mm-hmm.
lots of different members. Just looking, knowing nothing about this particular K-pop group, I'm just looking at these photos. I'm curious as to whether there's a hierarchy of which ones, like you see them all like in a group playing. Some of them have switches and some of them have switch lights. Are the less popular ones the ones that are given this? It's like you gotta be here for you gotta get a few more fans before you get the switch. We'll give
Or
you a switch
or
light.
or maybe you get the Switch Lite because you travel more because you're in more demand. So there's no reason for the
Ah,
docking capabilities. So the people who've got the original Switch
maybe that's
stuck
how
at
it is.
home all the time. Although I wouldn't want to play Ring Fit on a Switch Lite, to be honest.
I, I don't know if that would work. Do you just attach the entire thing to the ring
Well, because
or strap it to your
you
leg?
can get separate Joy Cons to connect to
Oh,
your
I
Switch
guess
Lite.
it would
You're
just be
like
you just have to
you'd have a
watch it on
very
the
small
screen.
screen
Yeah.
very far away, and like I mean, it's probably something I would do on travel if I didn't bring like a dock with me or something. But it's not a thing I'd want to do.
No, no. I mean, Ring Fit. A lot of Ring Fit is the audio cues too.
Hmm. Quite a bit of it.
because some of the exercises they get you to do involve not looking at the screen. There's a neat, this is actually neat sort of Canadian thing, is that an, a First Nations artist by the name of Charles A. Has made this some really neat Pokemon artwork. Let me pull this up in a traditional style. Whoop. Hey, there it is. So it's like taking the three Gen 1 starter Pokemon, their evolved forms, I guess,
Yeah, these
and
would be their final forms.
doing them in this really neat style. It reminds me a little bit of there was a Kickstarter quite a few years ago that where they did a bunch of traditional Japanese like sumei, is that how you and pronounce it? But the like traditional Japanese like block prints
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
of Pokemon in and different Nintendo things. So anyway, super neat. He's a guy that lives in Ontario, and apparently these were. He doesn't even have like social media accounts and stuff. He was posted. This was posted by his friend who is goes by or is posted under the username toss away another day 69. But but yeah, he's thinking about is so far it's just the one drawing thing, but it's gotten a lot of positive press and people really like it, and he's thinking of starting opening up for commissions and stuff. So neat project. Other stuff. Do you want to play Amnesia Rebirth, but it's too spoopy? If so, you're in luck because there's a new version of it, or there's a new mode that's coming to it called Adventure Mode, where it's basic. What I love about what I like about this is what the changes that they made in order to make it less spooky. For one thing, it's just like brighter overall. Like they just it
Mm-hmm.
made it not so scary and dark. Uh, the monsters don't attack you unless you like really go after them.
Which I mean, honestly, fair.
Yeah, and there's they have disabled the insanity mechanic, which is like if you were in dark spaces or like looked at monsters for too long, then you would start being like, and like your screen would go all wobbly and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they've actually added in adventure mode. There's some more like adventure-y type puzzles that they've added too, which is kind of a neat idea.
Yeah.
Apparently the same company, obviously these these team has done a lot of games, including Soma was another of the games that they did, which they also added later on a safe mode where you can sort of experience the game without having to worry about the like monsters attacking you and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, like these are it's not like it's not like the game has been ruined or changed or whatever. Like you can play it in the
Yeah, you
scary
can
way.
play it in the
This
in the
is,
scary mode, the
but it's
normal
like
mode.
if why not have it there? Why not have a mode where if people do just want to explore it, then that's like a fun thing to do. That's kind of interesting.
I do think it's interesting they added the puzzles. They added stuff into adventure mode as well, because generally, like the stuff that they're describing. Otherwise, I would have assumed you would have just put maybe some toggles on. Like maybe I don't want to deal with uh, a meter that is going to make me insane because I'm having a hard time with that, or
Mm.
I don't want to be. Or maybe I just need the game to be brighter because I have a hard time seeing. Not necessarily all of them, but to make it a completely new mode and be like, well, we're going to put some new puzzles into it. So maybe people who have already played it as a scary thing will want to experience again to see the changes that way.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Bel Belpay, talking about Assassin's Creed Tourist Mode. That's actually a little different. Assassin's Creed added, I think they call it exploration mode, which is that's different. Like that's not actually playing the game. Like it's not actually like here's an easier a way to play the game with more accessibility options. The exploration mode in Assassin's Creed is here's the world of Assassin's Creed, but we're overlaying it with like all the like stuff to learn about. Like you can go to like the pyramids and there'll be a thing that like explains how the
Right.
pyramids were built and stuff. Like it's you don't actually do any of the stuff of the game. You're just sort of walking around looking at things. Which is different from this, which is like you are actually still playing the game. You get the story and everything. This,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just changing the mechanics of it a
I
little
mean,
bit.
I'm also still for more tourist mode things
Oh
in
yeah, yeah.
games
I
as
mean,
well, because that's even if it's not quite the same thing, because that's still just an interesting way to go and interact with a game and to really get to actually see parts of the models and stuff. Maybe you don't have time to when things are chasing you or you have stuff to do.
I mean, I've talked about it a little bit already, during the streams, but I've seen and I understand a demand for in Death Stranding a like I just want to walk around delivering packages mode. Like get rid of the ghosts, get rid of the ghosts, get rid of the like bandits, get rid of the actual like story, and just like relax, deliver packages. Like
Yeah, that's
as
a
a
game
thing,
people would play.
as a mode, right? Like that could be a game. It would be like it would be a different kind of a game.
Hmm.
And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody either has or is or will make a game that is basically that.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
just
I'm
like
I'm all
hiking.
for games doing different modes of their own thing, adding in different things, or just even taking stuff and making just very like the core mechanic of a thing. Especially if people find it enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean the Assassin's Creed exploration modes or whatever they're called are like there are very it's a very interesting idea. Like it's the biggest game I've seen that has this like um completely different usage of the same assets to completely change the game into something that is not only like not really a game, like basically turning it into a teaching aid, which
Mm-hmm.
is you know a cool thing, and but something that is probably like I would venture to guess not that like popular or in demand, but it's just like something that they felt strongly about that they wanted to do, and to sort of piggyback on the idea that the game that they do so much research for the game that they wanted to actually happen. There's a great story about Assassin's Creed Origins, which is the one set in Egypt. Is that there's the great pyramid of one of the great. I don't think it's Giza, but one of the big pyramid. There's a big pyramid in it, and in the game, they put a special. They put a tomb into the pyramid because from a gameplay perspective, so there's a reason for the pyramid to be there. You can go into you can find this tomb and you go and you can collect a bunch of stuff
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. There isn't actually a tomb in that way in the pyramid, or at least they have or at least there wasn't. Just before the game came out, they found a previously unknown tomb in that pyramid. And they're like, great, we already have it. But
We
yeah,
just put that in for fun, but hey.
there's all sorts of stuff. Sorry, I played a lot of Assassin's Creed. There's all sorts of stuff with, especially with Origins, where like they actually like invented new computer vision algorithms for like translating hieroglyphics that are actually like
Cool.
now that are actually like used by actual Egyptian scholars now. They spent way too like I feel like people playing the game didn't really care, but apparently they did, which I appreciate. Like I think they got too into the like they got more into the Egypt part than the actual game part. We've talked a little bit about Pokemon, the card game, has had this like weird sort of revival, not necessarily of people playing the game, although I think from
A little
for the
bit, kind of
pandemic and all
more,
kinds of stuff,
but
people have gotten into playing the game, but the speculation market of Pokemon cards has just blown up in the last year, driven mostly by a couple of like super high profile things. There's the foil Charizard that went for a ton of money.
yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's uh, publicly there's been large like unboxing videos and people being able to sell cards and other people suddenly being like, wait, I have those maybe.
And Twitch streams of like unboxing and all this kind of stuff. But it's to the point where professional sports authenticator, which is apparently the largest card authentication company in the U.S. They do, as well as Pokemon cards, they also do, baseball cards and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The they're so backed up that they're so backed up with card submissions and Pokemon cards being a large portion of those, that in was it in the first 3 months of 2021 they have received four times they received more than 1 million Pokemon cards in 2020, and they've already in the first 3 months of 2021 they've received four times that now. So over 4 million Pokemon cards. Holy doodle!
To authenticate and grade. That's a lot. They probably don't have the amount of manpower needed for that.
Yeah. I figure like and so they authenticating and grading. So they've actually stopped accepting not just Pokemon cards but any cards for grading unless they're like stupidly.
Yeah, you have
like
to have
over,
a really
it's like
highly valued.
if it's like an over $10,000 card, they're like, fine, I guess we'll look at it. But anyway, so apparently people,
This is not a free service either. This is
No,
like this is a
these are-
thing you pay. You send your cards in and you pay to have them authenticated and graded, hoping probably like with the intention of like I know I have some cards that are in good condition and worth a little bit of money.
like there can't be. I'm just thinking like 4 million Pokemon cards, like I mean, or over 2020 and 2021, 5 million Pokemon cards. Like there can't be that many high value Pokemon cards, period, out there, right? At least not like super
Not
worth.
to that degree. Not likely. No.
Like if you're talking like I just Magic cards is what I know, but like the reason why cards like Black Lotuses and all these kind of cards, the reason why they're worth a lot is there aren't that many of them out there. Like there are not 5 million Black Lotuses out there for people to grade. Like,
Well, I mean that would
whatever.
tank the value of that card, wouldn't it?
Right. I'm just wondering if people are just like they just like open a pack like, huh, and they just send in like all the cards, including like the commons and random things to get them graded. Like it seems like a dumb idea. Like presumably you wouldn't send in a card that you didn't think was super valuable, but
Well, and now you definitely can't.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Alpha Black Lotus is something like 1,400 were printed. Something like.
yeah, but I imagine most of, like, not all 1,400 of those are going to be available.
Right, exactly. So there's like a lot less than that. Um. Anyway.
But yeah.
And if you want to collect other stuff, Among Us has official plushies coming out. Woo! There's 12. They're you can get them in all 12 colors, and they're limited edition. They're limited edition, and um, uh, any person can only buy a maximum of 12, one of each color.
Which, honestly, fair.
Yeah.
It's per household, too, I think, because they've been selling out.
Uh,
So,
yeah. And this is kind of one of those interesting things where they almost had to put them out because the the little characters from Among Us are so simple. They're sort of very simplified, kind of rounded shapes that people have started making and selling their own plushes of Among Us characters
oh, yeah. Yeah.
extensively. And so they sort of had to be like, okay, we should actually do a real official one and make some money off this.
That's a thing that will happen if a thing gets popular, and especially if it's a small thing. You will find that the fan art community or the artist alley communities that exist will start to, whether that person likes that thing or not, will start to make and sell stuff with that property, because especially when it's a smaller property, it's less likely that they're making their own merchandise in the
Mm.
first place, and it's also, you know, less likely that you're maybe going to get into as much trouble with it if you're going to make a bigger property that already has stuff.
The simple the simple design of the Among Us characters combined with their bright colors, I can totally imagine uh, a bunch of them being like hanging above like a midway thing. Like if you throw a dart and hit the balloon or whatever, you get like the purple Among Us guy.
You went in a very different. For some reason, I was thinking like, oh, there's so many of them. You just have them hanging there like a mobile for your child over over the crib, and I'm like, yeah, that's
Uh,
probably something that exists, and also
El-
teaching your child to look for imposters very early.
Electra 310 says that they got their son a bunch of Among Us plushes for Christmas. They have squeakers inside.
Aw,
So that when you
it's cute.
crush them, they go squeak. You can hear the air leaving their bodies. Squeak.
This is also like they're adding in 15-player lobbies and some other stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And they actually they just actually released a new map, which is the first new map that they've released like since
Right?
the
Yeah,
game has become big airship.
the airship.
And along with that release, they also announced that they're going to be like doing a slight redesign on the characters.
Yeah, this is I
Presumably, they're
find.
not going to change the design too much if they now have plushes of the characters.
Well, no, but like when they say revamped art style, they're like it's with cleaner lines, easier animation process, and they're like, so I don't expect it to be a thing of like you turn on Among Us and suddenly now it's a very hyper realistic art style. It's
Mm.
probably still very similar to everything else. Maybe the lines look a little bit different than they did before, but it sounds like it's more to do with making it easier to develop the game.
Yeah, to make changes and stuff going forward.
Hmm.
It's that. I mean, I know. Again, from previous checkpoint stories, Among Us is definitely one of those games. Like I think it was being developed by like 4 people or something, and and they got totally, it was, very sort of middlingly popular for like a year, and then just exploded, and they were very unprepared for it, as you might
Yeah.
imagine. They got kind of blindsided, so they've been really scrambling to just get it into like a just to make it like stable for people to play as opposed to like adding
Yeah.
new features.
Yeah, and then they were going to make that sequel, and then they decided not to and just continue to work on
Right.
the original game, which, I mean, makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah,
They,
it's one programmer and two artists. Yeah, it was even
yeah.
smaller team.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine like making a game and then being like, well, okay, it's doing all right. I'll just like I'll keep fiddling with it a little bit here and there, but
Yeah, and
and
you've
then
sort of
suddenly a
like
streamer
mostly
plays it, and you're like,
you can imagine people sort of like mostly moving on and like thinking about what they're going to do next and be like, oh, it's other projects and stuff, and then just be like, whoa, what? Oh boy.
yeah, like I think it's definitely getting it's probably just it's a streamer who sees a game, they're like, oh, I need something new to play. I'll try this game out. uh, Pushes it, but then pandemic on top of that, where people are trying to find experiences where they can play with a lot of friends online, something simple, something
But
even
yeah,
like cheap to buy or just get the free whatever
although
version.
Among Us took off quite a bit before the pandemic, but I think didn't it? I guess maybe not that much before.
Hmm.
Now that I think about it, I don't know.
It was a
Um,
game. It was a game that took off so hard that a bunch of people thought it was a brand new game
yeah,
because
yeah.
they'd never heard of it. That's how hard it took off, which is
Um,
amazing.
if you want something adorable that isn't a plush, maybe you can have your very own adorable baby Evangelion um, angel thing.
Varying ideas of adorable going on there.
There's so this is something that is apparently existed before, but it's now been patched into English. Is there's a game called Neon Genesis Evangelion Angel Raising Project, which is basically you raise a Evangelion angel as like a Tamagotchi.
Yeah, this was for what system was this for? The Bandai Wonder Swan. So if you've never heard of it, that would be why.
um, so you can play it on your handy dandy Wonder Swan emulator. Um, and yeah, you can grow your very own angel. It grows into one of more than 20 adult forms, and yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was, well, I wouldn't say cute. They do kind of look like little slugs, but probably cute for somebody.
Yeah, just you want a very biblical kind of angel to come at you that you
Mm.
got to raise. You can have that.
They can
Ava's creepy, okay? Like I
adult.
watched it, but it's creepy.
They can adorably wipe out humanity with their cuteness. Uh, all right, and I think that is all the
Yeah,
stories
that looks
that
like all
I
we've
want
got.
to talk about. So,
Yeah.
thank you all very much for joining us today. Um, Coming up in about an hour and a half, we've got Magic Friday Night Paper Fight Commander, where it's going to be Graham and Ben Ulmer and Serge and special guest Voxy are going to be playing some Commander. Should be super fun. And then on Saturday, I have a thing for this. On Saturday, it is going to be, speaking of multiplayer games that have exploded, Fall Guys. There's a new season of Fall Guys that just came out. So they've added a bunch of new games and new maps and stuff. And so a bunch of the LRR crew are going to be jumping into that and probably falling.
Yeah. And they got squads now,
Oh, right. Yeah. So you can,
which is the reason that got suggested. So I'm hoping they're playing in squads. I'm not going to make that promise because I'm not on that stream, but maybe they don't want to.
A stream that you are on is Rhythm Cafe, where I feel like these taiko drum games. This has got to be like the most epic, like longest series that you've done on
This
Rhythm
is
Cafe.
definitely, yeah, the longest one at this point. We're at the South Pole now. So there's a lot of penguins. And
Are the penguins into taiko drumming?
I mean, I think everybody is in this universe.
This is a little bit like Fortnite for me, in the sense that I have this vision in my mind of what this game is, which I'm pretty sure is very different from what the game actually is. But just the little snippets that I've heard from you and Ian about what happens in this game, it's like there's like time travel and you're jumping around, and at some point presumably you're doing taiko drumming in like a rhythm game kind of way, but you keep meeting like various people and different animals and creatures and things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of the reason this game is so long is it's an RPG, and the other part is because it's the rhythmic adventure pack. So there's actually 2 games, and we're in the second game now.
Right.
The first one had a lot of the time travel stuff. The second one is more like there's a bunch of dragon lords you need to defeat, and weird things are happening around the world, basically pulling past things forward in time. So we're not doing the time travel, but other things are doing the time travel now.
Wow, dragon lords.
Yeah.
It's just...
We fought a giant fish that was gold. Or
Ooh.
It became gold, and now it's our friend. I can't really remember. I mostly forget week to week what happens until I sit back down in the chair, and then we're like, what did we do last time?
It's like, did that happen, or was that a dream I had?
Is that something we made up in the game, or is that something actually happened in the
Right,
game?
that's the other thing, is that there's the 2 parallel stories, which is what's actually happening in the game and what you and Ian say is happening in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes they're hard to tell apart when you're not actually watching. Or when you are making it up, then you can't remember.
But then, speaking of Pokemon, Is This Your Card? Takes on the small, little-known indie game known as the Pokemon card game. But you know what? I've heard some buzz about it. I think it's going to be big.
I'm sure Wheeler will show us all the ins and outs.
Yeah. And then on Monday, I'm back with more Death Stranding. We are joining the America back together by combining things, delivering things for people, and doing incredibly vital jobs, and also sometimes just like delivering people's pizza, because that's apparently important.
People got to eat.
Yeah.
I guess I'm assuming that means. Do you have to deliver that pizza in 30 minutes or less, or they get it for free, or
you do? Yeah, you have
what?
to. There was a quest. There was a quest that was deliver this pizza. You have to do it within 30 minutes, and you have to like keep it upright.
Oh no!
So yes.
I assume video game rules would be like,
but then
just deliver it. It's fine.
But everyone's always, it's like, it's vitally important that you do this, bring this shipment of food to these people. Otherwise they're going to starve. And we've got to put America back together. And you're the only one who can do it. You are the great deliberator. But since you're out here, could you also do these, like, pick up this stuff? I got some action figures here. That would be great.
Grab milk on the way home. Be really awesome. Yeah, I don't really want to go out for it. You're on your way. I know I'm the one who sets your missions, but since you're going that way, take this with you. And,
that's the other thing.
Drop it off to my buddy.
Is to be like, it's vitally important you get here right away. And if you're coming here anyway, there's some beer that you could bring. Yeah. Or the last one,
Uh,
my last big mission, which was, could you go pick up my girlfriend? And by pick up my girlfriend, I mean physically carry her on your back all the way over because apparently she doesn't like walking.
from the sounds of it, not many people do in your game.
Yeah. Maybe that's the big thing that Sam can do, is that he can walk, whereas everyone else is like doesn't want to go out of their house. Yeah, also the mission where you had to pick up the guy's girlfriend, it was like, as long as you had less than 50% damage on the cargo, it's fine. It's like, really? 50% damage? That's a lot of
Wow.
damage.
That's a lot of damage to a person. Yeah.
I don't. Half broken is a lot broken if you're talking about a person.
Yeah. That's more than some scuffs.
Anyway, we're gonna be continuing to get that on Monday. I have no idea how much longer it's gonna be. Probably a while.
Walking takes time.
And then on Dice Friends, we have the exciting conclusion of Queer as Hell. That's right. What's going to happen when 5 bards are attempting to give a makeover to an archdemon, archdevil, in hell for the devil's daughter's wedding?
Very important. Yeah.
Things are starting to get very scary, though. So we'll see what happens. If you haven't kept up with the series, it's super great and is up on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, if you need all those heated details.
YouTube.com/loading ready run. So lots of cool stuff coming up. Loadingreadyrun.com/live is the place to go to see the full schedule. And it's also got a link to the calendar and everything on there. I think now we are finally outside the realm of various people around the world coming on or off daylight savings. So we should be at least all of the for like the entire month of March. Some people somewhere in the world are coming on or off daylight savings. But right. I think now that we're in April, I think we're mostly good.
There's like
New Zealand is tonight. Damn.
Oh no. There is still there's still some schedule changes though. Like you'll find like next week we won't be here.
That's true. Next Friday we have the PPR. Yeah, exciting for Strixhaven.
We can't give you your video gaming news on ChillPoint next week, but that just means we have more time to come up with video gaming news for next time.
Exactly. All right, let's thank all the awesome people who subscribed during this stream. Starting with this person. Hey! Featherweight! Speaking of Dice Friends, Featherweight, the awesome artist for all the character art for the Queer as Hell campaign, which has a lot of great character stuff.
See, I thought Featherweight was the name of the pony that I was trying to look up earlier, and it was not. There is a pony named Featherweight, though.
Heather Paul, gifted by Buildaler. Wait, what?
What are they doing on that channel?
Is Buildaler where you just build loading ready run?
I have not signed off on my likeness to be built in that regard. I will point that out now.
Please do not build people without their consent. Anyway, thank you all so very much for joining us for ChillPoint. And if you haven't already, for some strange reason, the CheckPoint episode that we were talking about is at youtube.com/loadingreadyrun up there. And yeah, I think that's all to talk about.
Pretty sure.
Thanks everybody for watching, and we will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.